What is going on, everyone? Welcome to our Memorial Day NHL, NBA, MLB live stream. Going to get into a couple of games, a couple of the headlines going through in the NBA and the NHL world, as well as 3 games on our MLB slate today. A lot more than 3 games, just 3 games that we want to highlight. One that I personally do already have locked in a bet on, so definitely want to get that out for the people. We'll start in the NHL. Mackey's New York Rangers secure a 2-1 series lead after a Game 3 victory in overtime by a score of 5-4. Rangers have now won 2 straight games, both in overtime. They won that huge Game 2 to defend their home ice, to even up the series heading down to Florida. Rangers were up 4-2. Third period, Panthers score twice. They tie the game. It goes to overtime. Rangers end up securing the win. Obviously, I like Florida to bounce back on their home ice. I think it'll be a similar situation as what happened in New York when the Panthers won Game 1. The Rangers responded in Game 2. In this home ice instance, I like the Rangers. Obviously, they won Game 3. I think the Panthers bounce back in Game 4. Hasn't been a series for the -1.5. If I remember correctly, I don't even think Florida covered in Game 1. I'm going to pull that up right now, but obviously Rangers win 5-1 in the last, or 5-4 in the last game, 2-1 for the Rangers in the first game. Yeah, the Panthers did win 3-0. So I'd even like the Panthers to bounce back, maybe on a puck line. I'm trying to see what the odds are on that just real quick on the app. I'm looking as -1 or +150 for Panthers, -1.5 in Game 4. So definitely something to keep a lookout for. But that game is not until tomorrow. I do still like the Panthers, I think, to win this series. I don't really know which way it's going to go. Obviously, it's going so back and forth. I think this is just set to go 7 games. I think it's just set to go 7 games, but also I think the Panthers bounce back in Game 4. I'd like the Rangers to win Game 5. I think maybe the home team could win the rest of the games of this series, and obviously that would mean the Rangers win the series in 7. I don't know what the series odds are on this series now. Rangers obviously were a slight underdog going into it. I was surprised by that with the home ice advantage, but Florida being the Cup favorite, they obviously were getting the best odds there. Rangers sitting with a 2-1 lead going into Game 4. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I do think it goes 7. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens there because Florida's very good on the road, especially these playoffs. They've handled business so time and time again. But we will bounce over to the Western Conference where the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers are tied at 1 game apiece as Dallas handled business on their home ice in Game 2. As the series shifts back to Edmonton tonight for Game 3, I'm going to pull up these odds here. Obviously, we can just get through this game right now. So Game 3 in the Western Conference Finals, Dallas Stars at Edmonton Oilers. Oilers are a -125 favorite. Stars at the +105. Oilers -1.5 is +200 here, and the over-under at 5.5. Obviously, slightly favoring that over with these two teams. Definitely something you'd expect. Stars get a bounce-back win in Game 2. If I remember correctly, 3-1. Oilers win 3-2 in overtime in Game 1. I like the Oilers in this game. I think I'm going to take them on the money line, the -125. I think they defend their home ice in Game 3. I think this will be a higher scoring game. I think this is a game where Edmonton's offense gets going. Could be maybe a 4-2, 5-2 victory for Edmonton. I'm going to stay away from the -1.5. I like the number on the Oilers at the -125. I'll buy that little bit of juice, and I'll take that. There's definitely some value there. Get the Oilers on home ice. They've been good at home all playoffs. I'm going to go ahead and take Edmonton today to win Game 3. I still have Edmonton winning this series. I did say last time we spoke on the live stream that Dallas was going to win Game 1, but Edmonton was still going to win the series. Obviously, after Edmonton secures a huge Game 1 win in double overtime, I like their chances even more. Yeah, they dropped Game 2, but I did expect them to split in Dallas to start. I think the Oilers will defend home ice in both Games 3 and 4 and go back to Dallas with a 3-1 lead. Dallas could win that Game 5. I still like the Oilers to win this series in 6 games. But I'm big on this Oilers team. I think that this is just the year for McDavid to at least get to a cup. He's going to run into a juggernaut, whoever comes out of the East, being the Rangers or the Panthers. It's going to be a great matchup. But I do have the Oilers winning this series and winning this game specifically if you're looking to get a bet out there for today. I like the Oilers -125 on the money line. I have been sprinkling some people to score first. Let's take a look at who the odds are for that today. Hyman's always the favorite at +800. Draisaitl at +850. McDavid right there +1100. So 3 guys, 3 Oilers, all favorites to score first, score the first goal. And then it moves down to 3 stars. Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson, and Rupe Hintz. all it's a little bit higher value. So definitely, if you'd like Dallas to jump out and get the first goal, definitely something to look at. Maybe I kind of like the Rupe Hintz at 18-1, but also maybe a Vander Kane at 19-1 for the Oilers. But it's hard for me to stray away from Zach Hyman, who hit that plus 1,000 ticket for me just a week ago. So, but obviously the Western Conference Final, like we said, Game 3 tonight. We'll take a look at the current NHL or Stanley Cup playoffs, the futures for who's going to win the cup. Obviously, the favorite right now is the Rangers at the plus 220. They're the favorite to win that series in the East at the minus 175. Stars come right behind them at plus 250, with the Oilers at plus 260. The Panthers then sit there as at plus 380, yes, and plus 145 to win their series. The Stars are minus 115 to win the West, and the Oilers at minus 105. So they definitely think that that Eastern or the Western series is pretty tight, going one game apiece back to Edmonton. They still think Dallas has a fighting chance. I like Edmonton to close out that series in 6 and represent the West in the Cup. I like the value on the Rangers at plus 220. I thought getting them at plus 400 to win the cup before this series was crazy. I wish I would have bought a ticket on that at the plus 400. I think this is a crazy value spot for the Panthers, though, because I love them to win Game 4. So you can get them at a great series price at plus 145. But like I said, I think this series goes 7. You're going to have to win a road Game 7. It's going to be tough, but obviously, like I said, Rangers plus 220, Stars plus 250, Oilers plus 260, and the Panthers at plus 380. I think your best value bets are the two bottom teams. I like the Oilers and I like the Panthers. I think that could very likely be a cup final matchup, and definitely something that I'd be looking for. And plus 380 on the Panthers at this point. I think they were plus 220 before this series started, so they've completely flipped with the Rangers. Like I said, Rangers were at the plus 400. So something to keep a look at in the NHL is Game 3 is tonight at 8:30. So definitely something to stay tuned for. Try to get a couple plays out, but I'm definitely on the Edmonton Oilers tonight in that one. And as we move to the NBA, the Boston Celtics lead the Indiana Pacers 3-0 after the Celtics overcame a 12-point halftime deficit in Indiana to secure a crucial Game 3 win and take the 3-0 stranglehold on the series. Jason Tatum had a huge game in this matchup. Obviously, they're down 12 at halftime. Everyone has seen what this Celtics team is capable of. They get a huge win, come back, win the game 114 to 111. I believe Tatum went for 36, 8, and 10, somewhere in there. I think 10 rebounds. I know I saw that. He had the double-double. And then a bunch of assists as well to rack up there. Huge performance by him after everyone was calling for, is Jaylen Brown the guy on Boston? Is Jaylen Brown the guy on Boston through games 1 and 2? Tatum comes in with a huge statement game, 2 assists away from a triple-double to take that 3-0 stranglehold on the Indiana Pacers. Game 4 for that series is tonight at 8, with the Celtics at a minus, I believe it was 7.5 whenever I checked. Let me pull that up. Yeah, Celtics are minus 7.5, minus 275 on the money line, and the Pacers obviously plus 7.5 and plus 230 on the money line. I believe no Tyrese Halliburton. He did not. He was injured earlier on in this series. Everyone's saying, the Celtics run is a Mickey Mouse run because everyone they're running into is getting so injured. It's going to be big. It says he's a game time decision. I don't think he's going to play. Drew Holiday as well is a game time decision with an illness. So that's another one that had a huge performance in Game 3. It's going to be interesting to see if Siakam can carry this Pacers team to a respectable gentleman's sweep. But even if the Pacers win this game, I think without Tyrese Halliburton, this is a totally different team. I like the Celtics. I think this closes out in max 5 games, but I think this series is over today. Unfortunately, because these conference finals in the NBA have been very uneventful. As we also look out west, where the Dallas Mavericks also have a 3-0 series stranglehold over the Minnesota Timberwolves after the Mavs won games 1 and 2 in Minnesota and then secured a Game 3 victory on their home floor to make it a 3-0 series lead. Obviously, everyone's thinking we're going to get Celtics Mavs in the finals. Both of them have 3-0 leads. I don't know if anyone's ever blown a 3-0 lead, and I saw in the West it's never been blown. But I don't know about the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's just about all but over. But for the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's looking like they're just going to be struggling to get or scratching to get one win at a time. Try to force this thing to a Game 7. They were backs against a wall, or their backs were against a wall against Denver. I think Denver's a better team than Dallas right now. Obviously, that lineup's just deeper. Dallas has Luka, Dallas has Kyrie, PJ Washington, and obviously Gafford and Lively have been playing huge minutes and huge roles for that team. But I just think obviously Jokic is if you're able to stop him, I like their chances to stop anyone. But such a different matchup. If you remember what I said last series, the Timberwolves would much rather see the Thunder in this spot. Younger, more inexperienced team, and you don't have to worry about Kyrie Irving or Luka Doncic. They can figure out Chet Holmgren. They can figure out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Luka's had a hell of a series. Kyrie's been an insane a matchup for the Timberwolves. They just have no answer for him. Whenever he wants to turn it on, he's absolutely done whatever he's wanted. And then, like I said, Gafford and Lively have been huge for this Mavericks team. And I just think the Timberwolves don't have an answer for Kyrie Irving whenever they need it. And he's been the closer in the fourth quarter. Obviously, we saw Luka hit the game winner over Rudy Gobert. It's been all Mavericks this series. The Timberwolves have made it look respectable in some of these games, but it's truly just been the Mavericks. They ran away with it late last night. I did live bet the Mavericks -6.5 in that game, and it was like a 5-point game with 3 minutes left. Or no, it was a 4-point game with like 3 minutes left. I fell asleep watching the game. I woke up to 116-107 that they won. And I was like, okay, so they just went on either a free throw, just shooting free throws the whole time to end, like Minnesota was fouling them, or Minnesota just couldn't get a bucket for the last 2 points. But obviously, that's how we get to the 3-0 series lead. Mavs win last night. Their game 4 is going to be tomorrow, Tuesday night in Dallas for game 4. I can't keep going with the Timberwolves. At this point, I'm probably just going to sit out of this series because I think both of these could end in sweeps. I think Dallas has their number. Minnesota looks defeated. They haven't gotten points and valuable minutes from Karl-Anthony Towns. When it's a close game in the fourth quarter, he's nowhere to be seen. Gobert's been getting cooked. They look like a completely different team than they did last series. I think we're going to get Celtics Mavs. I love Luka. I hate to be rooting against him with this future that I have, but I'll definitely be pulling for the Mavericks. Or I mean, if the Timberwolves can get it done, albeit I'd cash the bet. But I think the Mavericks are going to represent the West, and the Celtics are going to represent the East. And I'd definitely be rooting for the Mavericks at that point to watch Luka get his first ring. But yeah, I don't really have a play on this NBA game today. With a couple of those injury questions, I'd lean more on the Celtics maybe to start fast in a first half or a first quarter spread. I'm sure you could get that anywhere around 2.5, 3.5 points. Definitely something to keep a look at. I definitely like the Celtics. I think the Pacers look defeated. They won that first half, 12-point deficit in game 3. Celtics came back huge. So Celtics sometimes like to start slow and play with their food. So definitely be a scary bet, but maybe just stay away on that game. Nothing I'm really loving there, especially with all the unknowns that I said. But we'll move over to the MLB where we have a couple of matchups that I wanted to highlight. The first one that I have is the Cardinals at the Reds. Nick Lodolo on the bump for Cincinnati. Cincinnati at -145 on the money line. The Cardinals are +120, over under at 9.5. I do have the Reds on the money line here. I laid the juice. I got it at -140 a little bit ago before it shifted to the -145. So do apologize about that. Still like the -145. I'd buy this all the way down to if it moves to 150. I think this is a value play on the Reds. Cardinals in a late delayed Sunday night baseball game last night. Didn't get done till like after midnight. Travel to Cincinnati today. 4:00 game on Memorial Day. I think the Reds jump all over them in the first game of this series. I look for Cincinnati to get a big win today. -145 on the money line. I like that. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And then also another 4:10 game. I thought this was a little later, but the Dodgers at the Mets. Tyler McGill versus Gavin Stone. Dodgers are a -135 on the money line. Mets +115. I do like the Dodgers here today. Gavin Stone not there. He's more of a back end of the rotation guy. He's been having some struggling starts over the past couple of weeks. Has gotten better over the past couple of starts, I believe. I'm going to lean on the Dodgers here. I like the -135 on the money line. Again, laying a little bit of juice in Citi Field. But the Mets continue to struggle. I've been taking them a couple of times the past couple of weeks as they were starting to surge. And they've just dropped games to the Giants and other below average to average teams. And I look to the Dodgers to get a win today. And then the night game, the Houston Astros heading to Seattle. Framber Valdez versus Bobby Miller on the bump. We have the Mariners at plus 110 on the home money line. Astros at minus 130 and the over-under at 7.5. I actually like the under in this one, and I like the Nerfy. Usually when I like the under, I also take a Nerfy, but I do love that under 7.5 with these two guys on the bump in this pitching matchup. Valdez versus Bobby Miller. I like the under 7.5. I don't think there will be a lot of runs scored here today, or tonight, I should say. Something to keep an eye on. I like the under 7.5. It might shift. It looks like it's going in the direction of an even 7, so want to get that extra half point while you can. But yeah, a bunch of more games on the baseball slate today. Obviously, we have Phillies Giants. That's a good matchup at 5 o'clock. Red Sox Orioles, Blue Jays White Sox, Royals Twins. Who else? Braves Nationals. Obviously, I'm going to be avoiding the Braves for a couple of weeks with that news to Ronald Acuna. Going to be interesting to see how they play without him. Obviously, that's a deep lineup, but when you lose your best player, your leadoff man, a 40 home run and 70 stolen bases guy last year, I don't know how far this Braves team is going to go without him. We saw them do it a couple of years ago, but that was a completely different team. Let's see. And then Cubs Brewers and Marlins Padres. Cubs also played in a late matchup last night. I looked to the Brewers to get a big win there. I like them on the minus 115 on the money line. But yeah, other than that, good baseball slate today. Memorial Day slate, and one NBA game, one NHL, game 4 in the NBA, game 3 in the NHL Western Conference Finals, and game 4 in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. But like I said, we looked at some of these series prices. I think the only thing I did not pull up was the futures that I wanted to look at. Yeah, the Celtics are now minus 225 to win the NBA Finals with a 3-0 series lead over Indiana. Mavericks right behind them at plus 185. I might have to jump on the Mavericks. The Mavericks are now minus 5,000 to win the West on MGM, which is absolutely insane with that 3-0 series lead. But Mavericks plus 185 to win the finals in a head-to-head matchup basically against the Celtics. I might have to lay some juice on the Mavs. I like them to win this series. I think they match up well. The narrative of Kyrie Irving going back to Boston. I'd like Luka and Kyrie to get their first ring. I'm going to lean towards the Mavericks to win the NBA Finals at this point because I think it is all but over all over but the crying for the Timberwolves. But they just haven't shown up. They haven't gotten the job done, and that's why they're plus 1,400 to come back and win this series. But yeah, thanks for listening. Got some good NHL, NBA content out there going. Going to get some plays out there today as well in the MLB, NHL, and NBA, wherever we find the value. But thanks for listening. Make sure you're checking out all the social medias. Other than that, yeah, stay tuned for any updates, any plays we're giving out. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys later this week for the episode.